listening to Cup of Queens with Paige and Saray, and today we're talking to the ambitious and bold Bethany Berkley. Bethany is the owner and CEO of Dale Carnegie Training of North Dakota and Northwest Minnesota. Bethany talks with us about the power of people skills, lessons in leadership, and how to make a great first impression. Bethany also shares with us some advice on how to deliver your best public speaking and key ways to radiate confidence. So grab your cup and enjoy.
Cheers to Thursday.
Cheers to
Thursday. That's a great way to play it.
Cheers, cheers. We're so excited. Are we rolling?
We're rolling.
Yay. So we are so excited today. We have Bethany, who is the owner and founder. Did I introduce you correctly?
Yeah.
Okay. Owner and founder.
Well, Dale Carnegie is a global organization, so I'm technically not the founder because that would be Dale Carnegie himself.
Right.
Correctly, I feel like it's almost accurate.
So maybe like CEO and owner?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my actual title, yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Well, I'd love to take on owner, but I'd do all this.
CEO is still, I mean, who doesn't want to be that?
Who doesn't want to be that? So CEO and owner of Dale Carnegie Training here in Fargo. But we want to know everything. So give us the rundown on what you do, how you got started, kind of the full
scope.
Such a big question. Okay, where do I start? Okay, how I got started. So I used to be in nonprofit development.
Okay.
Raise money for nonprofits. I always want to make sure with what I do, I have passion and heart. Mm-hmm. Because if I can't feel that, it's not the right fit.
Yeah.
And I'll feel bored, and nobody wants to feel bored. So I ended up working on a capital campaign after I moved to Fargo. And I've lived in a few different areas with the United Way. And that's when I met Tanya Stendy, who is the previous owner of Dale Carnegie here in North Dakota and Minnesota. And she really took me under her wing, and she Dale Carnegie'd me, as we say, when we were having coffee together. And I said yes to this position. I didn't even know what Dale Carnegie was or what I'd be doing. I was just infatuated with how she was able to make me feel like the most important woman in the world.
Wow.
I love that.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
And she's still a mentor. I was actually with her before coming here. And I looked up your website with her. I was like, and she said, you know what you're saying? I said, I'm just going to be myself. And she said, that's fantastic.
Yes.
That's exactly what you should do.
Yes.
Love it. So female mentors are so important. That's how I found Dale Carnegie. And I came in as a consultant, which is really AKA sales, right? And learned the business and found this beautiful blend between the nonprofit sector, where I was able to raise money to fuel nonprofit missions, where you're really pulling at heartstrings and getting people to understand the impact they have in their community, with the for-profit sector, which is where we are able to create actual performance changes in people and businesses here and throughout our entire territory, because we don't have a tangible product. It is investing in people, and you get the goosebumps, right? When you see someone have this moment where, let's say you're not confident speaking in front of a group. And public speaking is feared more than spiders and death.
Yeah.
And Americans' greatest fears, it's always ranked. Seriously, people would rather die or be covered in spiders.
I have heard this.
People. It's insane.
That's so crazy.
And it's so true. And you see somebody who comes into a program and they're petrified of this. And then by the end, they stand in front of the audience and they're owning that space. And you see the real them actually start to shine through, right? All the doubts and insecurities. And I realize this is exactly what I'm supposed to do. Because this is empowering people in the truest form, which is by giving them confidence to understand their unique talents that they bring to the world. And that's essentially what we do. So I fell in love with Dale Carnegie, still talk to the mentors, Tanya and Tamara, that brought me on, and ended up falling in love with the business, getting a business partner. His name is Jay. He's a phenomenal human being. And during the pandemic, I came back from maternity leave of 2 young children.
Twins?
No, 2 young children. Oh, twins. Oh my God.
Okay.
But they feel like they're kind of twins because they're both under the age of 4. I have a 3-year-old, and he's 18-ish months now.
Oh my gosh, congrats.
Yeah, congratulations. By the way, you look amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we, where was I going with this? Yes, 2 young children. And I came back from maternity leave with my second child. And it was hard because people don't invest in people during a pandemic, right?
Right.
All of our businesses, our partners are cutting budgets, so they're doing what they have to do.
Sure.
And it was tough. And my previous partner said, you know what? I've realized I have an entrepreneurial spirit, and he does. He loves ag and ag tech, and he wanted to go back to that space. And he said, "You have the first right of refusal. Do you want it?" And I'm like, "Yes!" Like an immediate, like, "Yeah." I don't even know. I'm like, "I don't know. Do I have the cat? Like, what is this going to? I don't know." And then I asked Katie Munyon, my new business partner, to join me because I wanted to make sure that I had somebody to balance me out. And you two kind of remind me of us because you're likely different enough, but you share the same values and passion. Yes. And I want to know
1,000%
about this. And I ended up bringing her back from Utah to join us full time to lead training and quality in our territory. And then I asked her to join me as like a proposal, like, will you be my business partner? Because in business, that's a big deal.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
It really is a proposal in a different way. And business marriages are hard to get out of personal marriages from experience. So, you know, you have to be thoughtful about that.
Yeah.
And she is the yin to my yang, has all of the strengths and qualities and personality differences that are essential to balance, right? The spectrum, because it's important. And I need somebody that's smarter, more talented, all those things. And she said yes. So we started on this venture about in a pandemic. I remember us sitting at the bank, Western State Bank, and we're like shaking. And I was getting a call from Dale Carnegie and Associates with a surprise, like ownership fee. And I'm like, what? We're about to write this check. And we paused. And she said, I need a second. I said, okay. So we went outside of the parking lot. She's like, there's a bar right there. She said, I think I need a shot of okay. So we go over there. We take not one, but 3 shots. It's not our best one. Whatever. It's like, it was very nerve-wracking. We're risking everything in a pandemic, buying a people business, right? And we did that. We went back into Western State Bank. We wrote the checks and we said, okay, we're all in because we love what we do. So since then, we have been on this wild journey and ride that our community throughout the entire state and in Minnesota as well, people want to develop themselves. And employers and our partners have all come back, which is remarkable.
Great.
And it's just such a blessing to do what we love and to take the risks and feel like, you know what we do matters and it fills our buckets. It's exhausting. It's not easy to own a business. That's why there aren't many people who do.
Yeah.
Especially mothers, wives. It doesn't matter, right? There's not that many female business owners in North Dakota in general.
Yeah.
And in our region.
I really want to go back to what you said about the female business owner. And I think any female that owns a business, that's just incredible. So what does that mean to you when you think about it?
Being a female business owner? Right away, I think of the responsibility that we have to actually empower other women. We have an all-female team, not on purpose. It's just what's happened. We have a few 1099 independent contract trainers that are male, but our full-time team is all women. And there's varying personalities, right? You can imagine, like, it's dominant personalities, the empaths, the full spectrum. And I love that because we need that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to work with a bunch of me. That'd be awful. I don't want to work with me at all. And Katie realizes that too. So we actually don't even create job descriptions. We find the right person and we make a spot for them in our business.
I love that.
I think that's really great. Yeah.
And I don't, there are people that I've been trying to, I'm like, you know who you are, for like a while. Bring onto our team, like, we'll create a job description for that person that maximizes their strengths. And you just know when they're the right fit. I think it's a responsibility for all of us, particularly female owners, to create a culture of empowerment, which means we have to be confident. Because if we're not, and I believe this wholeheartedly, that's when all the other things come out that inhibit another woman's success. I was just at a great event about this exact thing, and it was female owners and executives, and I was invited to attend for this focus group in our community around how can we really level up female executives and business owners. And the amount of times we talked about women working against women and identified that that was really at the core of the issue alongside the other barriers we face was surprising to me. And also not, because I get it.
Yeah.
So my objective is to make sure that anyone who joins our team, female or not, has the confidence to take on the challenges, to really spread their wings. And they're never going to get that from me because I'm confident enough. That's my job, right? I have to develop myself and be confident enough in my own skin, my own shoes. Sarah Flint.
Yes, we did talk about that.
We need to talk about these shoes too. So
good. I know, so good. And that's the recipe I found. If I look back on my own career in the nonprofit sector, raising money for nonprofits, there were some incredible women I worked for, and there were also some experiences where I know that I didn't feel supported or at home because there was something else. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I feel like women too, we always know that there's so much more out there, and what can I do to get to the next, or what can I do to better myself? And I think we're always eager to find that out.
And you need to have a good environment to do that.
Yeah.
And we have a policy truly where from the very beginning I look for, there is a no drama policy.
Yeah.
I will let go of someone in that moment because they can create a ripple effect of toxicity that deteriorates empowerment and people's ability to really maximize their true talents. And it doesn't matter who you are. One of my questions is during our one-on-ones, on a scale of 1 to 10, how empowered do you feel today? And I've already understood their definition of empowerment.
Wow.
And that's important to me. And I want to create an environment where they're psychologically safe enough and willing to take those risks with me because they're not worried about it.
Yeah.
They know that I support them. I have their back. It's not just about the tasks of their role. I want to know how they want to feel every day and how can I create that environment where they are cultivated and can achieve their best self. And there's no greater joy than that. Like seeing people take on a challenge and do it and feel like super empowered, and you can tell, right?
Yeah.
You can see it. I love that.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
That is such a cool thing to focus on. And, you know, you mentioned the confidence aspect and how that's not something that you can teach. But it is something that a lot of women struggle with. And that is where drama becomes an issue. And that is where that support or that lack of trust comes into play. What advice could you give to someone who maybe is starting to reflect and see that they do have that lack of confidence?
That's a tough question. I spent a lot of my life not understanding my worth and my value. And by surrounding myself with people that matched that for me, if that makes sense, right? And there's a time when you have this moment where you can choose, right? What is the reality that I decide is accurate? Is it my own self-view? Is it this person's view of me? And you get to create that. And what I say is if you show up every day as the person you want to be, what are those words that describe that characteristic? And for me, it was confident. It was present. It was another thing, like be where my feet are, be present and engage with whomever I'm with. And I learned that from my mentors, that just allowing other people to understand and embrace their own individuality and strengths and feel heard and important is one of the most remarkable gifts you can give someone. So be here now, wherever that is. And then the third thing was take risks to understand yourself better. Know where your strengths are and then offset your weaknesses with people who can be better. And that's okay. It doesn't mean you have to be threatened by that. It means embrace it and see what will come when you do that. And I committed myself to that. I used to be petrified of public speaking.
Really?
I gave the commencement speech at the University of Texas when I graduated, and I was shaking at the podium, like bright red sweating. It's terrible. There are pictures out there. It's like a video. It's horrible. Oh my gosh. So embarrassing. But then at the same time, like, you know what? It's good for me to have this record because I used to not be who I am right now. And I remember walking away from that podium, and I was supposed to give this like super inspiring thing at the University of Texas, right? And I did not. And I remember thinking, what am I going to do with this? I never want anything to have that much power and control over me ever again.
Yeah.
And so then I challenged myself, because it's who I am, right? If you buy people, this is the pandemic, there's more to that story, to do Toastmasters, all the things that I could be in front of people as much as possible, because I didn't like how nervous I was. I wasn't me. I wasn't giving my full self. And that's not fair to the audience, not fair to whomever it is that we're training. It doesn't matter. If we're inhibiting our ability to give value to people, it's almost, it's not selfish, but it's almost like we're limiting innovation, creativity. We're limiting empowerment, right? And so I challenged myself, and now I speak in front of so many different types of audiences, and it no longer has control over me because I see people and I see myself differently, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it does.
So you have to take risks and also understand your limitations and find people that make you better, that challenge you, and be open to what they have to say.
Yeah.
So for people that do, struggle with public speaking or do have that fear, what are different tactics that you say that help overcome those?
Oh, there's so many things. Okay. So one of my favorites is, and I do this a lot, I actually do this before any engagement, and I'm nervous every time, and I do this a lot. And the reason is because I care. So I had to detach that. I had to understand, like, okay, this is good stress. It's because I care versus like I'm like shaking and sweating because that's not good stress, right? So like, I'll have to show a picture of my commencement speech.
Please send that
Yes,
to us.
yes.
Seriously, I was like bright red, and I remember like holding the podium like it was.
We're going to do a side-by-side. That speech versus your last one.
It would be really... That'd be really interesting, actually. It'd be very different. I also am a blonde now, which is not natural, but it's fine. So I look different. I was much younger. So one of the things I like to do is the superhero pose. And it's the shoulder width apart, right? It's where you plant your feet. And you actually put your hands on your hips and you put your chin up to the sky. And the research says that in that moment, if you hold it for a minimum of 30 seconds, that your testosterone levels increase, even in women, which boosts your confidence. Your cortisol levels decrease, which reduces your stress and anxiety. So you're more powerful in 30 seconds by doing this stance. And it's fascinating how our brains interpret it.
That's awesome.
I do that in a bathroom stall every time. And so if you see like heels in a bathroom stall, it's like might be me before a thing in any venue around the state. And it's like a grounding, centering thing. So take a moment to breathe and just know your power and your worth, and that you wouldn't be there if you didn't deserve to be, if you hadn't earned it.
Yeah.
So just understanding your worth and getting grounded and centered in that, because we do negative self-talk so much, right? And I think of the times where I've sat there and my heart's pounding out of my chest before I go up, and I'm sweating, and I'm like, I'm here, and I'm like doing all these things. And I've strayed away from that, and that doesn't mean I don't care, because I'm still centering myself in the superhero pose in the female, like the women's bathroom. It's just taking a moment to remind yourself of all the good qualities you have, and we don't do that enough as women.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, I love this superhero thing because we have a coworker.
Yeah.
And the first time she met us, and she's this little thing. First time she met us, she did that, just exactly that stance when we were getting introduced to her. We're like, what's her deal? Like, why is she standing like that? And now we're like, we get it. Like, you were, trying to be confident. Yeah. And she's like, I didn't even notice I was doing it.
And like, she laughs about it now.
She's like,
that is so funny.
We always kind of joke with her about it, because she's like, that is just a natural instinct, which is cool that you say that, because it's kind of like now she's wired herself to do that within those situations. But back to this public speaking thing, because like you said, it's so fearful for so many people. And one thing I personally had always struggled with public speaking is stumbling over my words and then almost losing your train of thought, or then starting to circle into like a whole different lane than what you were planning on.
And it spirals and spirals.
And then it spirals.
Yeah,
and I even watch like pageants, where they answer those questions, and you've seen some of those situations play out. So aside from, those tips kind of pre-speaking, what can you do to kind of reroute your speech if for some reason something goes off?
Yes. I've been there. And then you hear your brain like, don't do, like, oh no, where am I at? Like, what's going on here? And then you're just like, you
kind of black out, and you're like, I don't even know what I'm saying now.
And then you leave and you feel awful. And that's awful, because you don't want to feel that way. So a few things I've learned is, one, don't over prepare, over rehearse. Don't do it. You need your bullets, you need your outline. Way back when, I used to memorize all the things, and that's when I would get trapped, because I'm off my cue of my words, and then I'm like, I don't know where I am, I don't know what to do.
Totally.
And you start to spiral. And I almost intentionally, I'll prepare, but there's something that's remarkable about being our authentic selves as well, and setting the precedent that we can be human. So now it doesn't matter. I could have an extremely large client, very, very large clients, and I'll make a mistake. And then I'll admit it. And I make light of it, and then we move on. And that's all there is to it. We're all human. We're not robots, right? We can't just regurgitate and memorize material. We have to be who we really are, and people almost see us differently in that moment, and the level of connection I have to those people is very different.
Yeah.
I don't want to be unapproachable. I don't want to be unrelatable. I want to be me, which is far more human maybe than people realize. And when I make mistakes, if I embrace those, it helps me, my own self-confidence, but also the client relate to me as a person. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
So just say it, right? Like, hey, I don't know what I just said. That's not what I was trying to say. Let me redirect really quick. Here's where I'm at, right? And then I would be honest, like one time, you guys, women. I say you guys. I'm trying to like correct myself. So
It's okay.
I was with this large client, and I was very rushed that morning. I forgot to shave one of my legs. It was like noticeably bad, and I was like itching. I'm like thinking about it right now, self-conscious about it. And I remember feeling my leg. I was like, I can't believe this. Like, how did I like, what am I going to do? So I was nervous going into it, and it was a disaster. Like the whole leg thing really threw me off. And then I just said that, like in front of, these were all male engineers, by the way, which they don't understand. Okay, like, you don't understand. I forgot to shave one of my legs today. And they all paused and looked at me, and then they all started like laughing. They're like, we're married, whatever it was. We're like, I was like, okay, we get it. Okay, we just want to I just need to get that out of the way.
I love that. I love that you were bold enough to say that.
It was throwing me off. Like, it's like not balanced when you only shave one leg, by the way.
Yep.
It doesn't feel right. Literally and figuratively. So I just call it out, and I do that because I'm human, and I've shown up to work with two kids with like one eye has mascara, and then that's like what we've talked about, like it's under my eyes because of whatever. I haven't found the right setting spray. Doesn't matter. And embracing that I am a mother of two and a business owner has helped me a lot.
Yeah.
And being vulnerable, prepared, but relatable, right?
Totally.
Just being me.
Yeah. So I'm just curious because you've done so many different trainings and sessions throughout your career. So what are some of those lessons that you teach? I mean, does it vary, I guess, for each company?
Because public speaking is kind of just one aspect of what you guys touch on, right?
Yes. So we have two different aspects of our business. One is the public programs throughout our territory, where people from across industries, their employers nominate them, they invest in them, and they join these programs in leadership for new managers, experienced executives, public speaking or presentations. And we all have to sell our ideas. And that's the thing. We think of public speaking, and what do you think of when you hear that term?
Terror.
I can do it. You can do it. You think of like somebody on a stage,
yes.
right?
Yeah. Yes. A big audience.
Like a commencement
performance
speech.
almost.
That's what I think of, yeah.
But every moment we're leading a meeting or we have to sell our idea, which all of us do, we're in that exact scenario.
Yeah.
The stage just looks different. So we have a program that's 2 days where you're recorded 7 times in a camera. You have a coach in a private room where we review your nonverbals, which are 80% of your communication,
Cool.
and your verbals, and we help you achieve your actual goals and objectives. And there are people from all walks of life, different industries, different careers. There's not that many like circuit speakers that are on a stage, right?
Yeah.
These are people who have many different positions who just want to feel comfortable in front of a group. And our goal is to see them for who they actually are, and then bring that out, and we coach in the moment so that they can see it too. And that's why we record it. And it's pretty magical. So there's that. And then there's the sales program, which is all about relationships and being confident enough to believe in your abilities and develop relationships. And the Dale Carnegie course, which is communication skills. That's all it is, and self-confidence and stress and attitude. And then the majority of our business that people don't realize is those in-house tailored solutions, where we go on site and we shift whatever the content is to that particular client and industry. That's where I like memorize acronyms and work with all engineers, and they give me this like binder. I'm like, okay, put on my glasses, and I'm like, doing my thing. And we work people through the barriers that are in their own minds that are preventing them from adding value to their business and adding value to themselves and their own level of fulfillment personally and professionally. And that's what it's all about. Nobody's needs to be fixed. It's we see you. Let everybody else see that too. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah.
I love
That's really inspiring.
the nonverbal. I've never even thought about, and I think of my mom because she always gets called out for how aggressive her nonverbals are. And I know I inherited those. And I'm like,
You
why?
look very friendly. I don't know.
Good.
My face doesn't move a lot these days, but I am recovering from RBF for many, many years.
You know, a lot of people have it.
Totally.
I didn't know. It took me I did not believe it. So my previous boss who's now a mentor, it has always been laid out photos of me at all these events. Like, I was having a great time.
Yeah.
I thought I was having a great time. Anyway, she's laid out all these pictures.
pissed.
Yeah. She's like, what were you doing right here? And she's doing it like her Dale thing. And I don't remember that was, but I feel like I was having a good time. She's like, do you look like you're having a good time? Would you talk to you? I'm like, no.
Oh my
Because I looked
gosh.
so mad. And I wouldn't have talked to me. And that's the thing, is she had to put all of these together over 12 months, which I go to a lot of things. And I remember having a great time, like music's on, like I got a glass and my wine in my hand, whatever. I'm like, this is great. But I looked so mad because my resting face was so bad. So it was, it started with me in the same element of it. I need to actually express on my face how I feel.
Yeah.
And be aware that my resting face is not good. And I'm going to make no friends. It's going to be very lonely in life. So,
oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I need a course. And you know what? I'm glad you said I look friendly. I really appreciate that. But my biggest issue is when like things like surprise you.
Yeah.
Or when you have an opinion about something and like you make a face in reactance. That's where...
And then people see it.
And then people are like, okay, so you don't like that idea. I'm like, I didn't say anything. I don't know what you're talking about.
it's true. Being aware of our nonverbals, that has been one of the largest things I've learned, is to actually present how I feel. And I didn't know that I was doing it.
Yeah.
That's why she presented me with the evidence, because I was like, I feel like I'm very friendly. And I was not. And then at first it's kind of weird and awkward because I try to force the smile, which is creepy.
And then people are like, what's going on?
It's weird.
Just do you. No.
And then you get focus face. You know what I'm talking about? And that's awful. So I had one of my team members, her name is Erica. She's lovely. It just like radiates joy and love. And she comes to my office and she's holding up the camera for World Smile Day. And I turn at her like in my glasses and I'm like making this face. And she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, what? And then she does it again. She's like, you're doing the thing. I'm like, oh, it's focus face. And then I like turn around with like a weird smile. She's like, we're going to work on this. Like, but when you're really focused, you don't realize when you're on to somebody. And that's my initial impression to them, right? It's intimidating.
Yeah.
I don't want to be intimidating. That's not who I am.
Yeah. So, okay, how do you yourself stay motivated to continue to fuel that passion and to do what you do great every day?
Give me some context, despite what prevents people from being motivated.
I think especially with working with so many, I mean, I would imagine working with people is, I feel like, something that is very exhausting because you're taking on kind of that whole process, I would imagine. So how do you stay motivated? You know, you mentioned how you love to see people succeed and kind of that light switch turn on. Yeah. So what are other things that kind of keep you going?
I see it as, well, one, that's an immense factor in this. So when those moments happen and you witness it and you have that feeling of awe, truly, where you get goosebumps, right? Like takes your breath away. And I was a small piece of it because the truth is that we facilitate that experience, but they decided to show up. Doesn't matter how tired I am, and I am tired all the time. I'm reminded of, this is why we do what we do.
Yeah.
Because I believe in this, and I just saw this immense transformation in someone. And I had a small part of their journey that I hope they remember forever. And it's not even about me, it's about them and that they showed up, right? They took the risk. So there's that. And that's hard to let go of because it's really the main factor. The other one is, I have a responsibility to be an example to all people, but especially women, that you can be a mother, you can be a business owner, you can take the risks. It is not easy. I'm not going to say it's easy. Yeah. I am exhausted all the time. All the time. It's not easy. If it's your passion and you believe in it, it's worth it.
Yeah.
And I feel that responsibility that I can show other women that they can do it if that's what they want. That we don't have to feel guilty about our work. And that we can have it all, but that looks different for everyone.
That's a good point. It does look different for everybody. Not everybody has the same path or goals. That's very true.
Someone's all is very different. My business partner has a dog. And that's great. And that's, she doesn't, not all women have to have children or whatever it is, right? You can choose what you want to do with your life and how much you work and what that means to you. And I just feel so passionately about women having positive experiences in the workplace, all people having positive experiences in the workplace, and breaking that cycle of bringing women down even unintentionally, subconsciously, because of our own insecurities.
Yeah. And you know, I think,
Absolutely.
and I think I saw this maybe on your guys' website, but that comes from a lot of leadership within people who aren't even in leadership positions. And I mean, everything you've talked about today, it is clear that you're a phenomenal leader. But what what got you to be that way? What is the best way that you have found to really lead those clients that you're working with and your team to feel comfortable?
Thank you. I'm like, ask the team that. So I know, so do you take assessments, like all the personality things?
We just
We
did.
did,
What you
yeah.
take? I forget what it's called, but it gave us a list of, or a kind of title of who we are. Paige was a specialist.
Specialist,
And
yes.
I was a persuader.
Oh, is this a strengths finder? Is it Enneagram? Is it?
It wasn't Enneagram. I have taken that. You haven't, though.
I haven't taken that,
Ooh, I wonder
no,
what
but
you
I
are.
should,
What are you?
yeah.
I think I'm a 3.
Now I need to know.
I know.
You got
Okay,
it,
yeah,
take it,
send
yeah.
it. Yeah, I want to.
Okay, so I don't know what this assessment is, but
Okay.
the reason I went there is it's important to know who we are. So
Yeah.
I'm a D on the disc scale, which means we're a very dominant personality. I'm aware of that. And I'm aware that my body language might come across that way, but it's not what I mean. It's just who I am. So I'm like a freight train. And my business partner is like we were just talking about this today laughing because I was explaining this to her. And I asked her to be my business partner for a reason. So this is my first piece of advice, is that choose people different from you that balance you out.
Yes.
Because it's important to understand that we can't be everything.
Right.
And we're not going to get better or evolve or innovate or whatever it is, reach a maximum level of performance unless we challenge ourselves to be challenged by other people that have a different worldview. And so what we pictured was truly, and on the Enneagram, for example, this is one, she is a peacemaker. That's her top score. That's my last score. It's not that way.
All about balance.
My top score is a challenger, and that's her last score. We both share the second time score of loyalty, which to us is family. Like you have the back of people, right? You take care of people. That's just what you do. It's about them before it's about us. We're loyal to passion and giving back and community, all these things. But the way we describe this picture is that I'm a freight train, like going through her Zen garden, because she's very like, picture like dewdrops, and she's holding a cup of coffee and whatever, and then there's like a freight train blazing through it. And it works because we're both willing to learn from one another. And that's the first thing I would say is we have to recognize our blind spots, which are in so many ways strengths too, because that makes us who we are. But we have to fill those blind spots with people that we recognize as talented, smarter, and better because we want to achieve good leadership.
Yeah.
And you can't do that on your own. And she challenges me and coaches me all the time, daily. And I appreciate it so much because I've learned so much from her. And not many people have the confidence to do that. And that's why I asked her to be my business partner, because she did. And I encourage our entire team to do it. And it helps me, right? So we're not the end all be all. That's the first thing. And actually trust people's ideas. Like I will hire people, we create these positions for them, and they come up with these ideas, and I might be like, I just feel like, okay, my brain, I'm like, it's not my way my brain works.
Yeah.
And then I think, why did I hire them then?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. And so then okay, what's the budget? Like, where are we at, right? And then we just do it. And even if it's not as successful in my view of what that should be, it's successful because it's something different and innovative and outside of my own perception of what successful is. Does that make sense?
That makes
it does.
total sense. And I think that's a really hard, kind of am thinking of this as a muscle. I think it's a really hard muscle to exercise to kind of let go of control and be so open to people who are completely on the different spectrum to you and like what you believe in. And I think that is incredible that you have put such a value on that.
I'm not going to say it's easy. Because I am a very dominant personality, so I have to actually listen more than I talk, because I'll take over a situation. Unintentionally, I just get really, really passionate. And I have to be quiet and listen and ask questions, and then I actually have to ask myself, like, why am I against this in that moment? Why am I having this reaction? And why did I hire this person? Because they think differently. Right. Okay, great. Like, tell me more about that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you a funny example. Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes.
So one of members of our team, do you know when you have like a bad pen?
Yeah.
I say shitty pen.
Yeah.
It's like,
You can
how
say
I
it.
Yeah,
see
it's
the
good.
situation. It's like, shitty pen. And you're like, it's like it has a company's brand on it, right?
Yep.
And you're like, whatever, this is a shitty pen. It's not working. And then you throw it away or you leave it somewhere, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
it's not a valuable pen to you. Okay, we were going to order pens. And I'm like, this is a serious situation. We don't want people to see our logo and throw it away or leave it behind. Like, this needs to be a pen that you keep. This is
good
important.
pen.
Right?
It's a good pen.
I agree. This is important. If we're going to make the investment, it needs to be a good pen. That means I don't want any interruption to writing flow. I need to feel good in my hands. It needs to be like recognizable, all the things, right? I don't want to leave this pen behind. This will be a cherished pen to me. So, I know it sounds ridiculous.
No, I'm like totally.
I know,
Like,
same.
yes. If you're gonna get a pen, it better be a good one.
It better be good.
You're not going to keep a shitty pen.
No.
I don't. I
You
leave
just
mine all the time.
don't. There's a lot of pens to choose from, and it's got to be good.
It's gotta be good.
Exactly. And I get pens all the time. And I was with a vendor of ours the other day, and they just spent a bunch of money on pens, and I was like, writing with it, and I couldn't get, when you're like doing the circles.
Oh, yes.
And I told the owner, I don't say his name, and I said, you need to get new pens. Like, I don't like this, or whatever, because it's frustrating to me. I'm like, let me tell you the story. So, anyway, I said, we need new pens. She's like, okay. And we do business. We like to support local business.
Sure.
So I had a vendor picked out that we do business with, and I said, okay, here's the deal, though. Okay, you have to test it for 2 weeks, like right with your top 10. Mm-hmm. Find something that's like noticeable but not obnoxious. Like, we don't want to like scream at people, but they can find it easily, like a mom bag, And it's seamless writing all the time. Dries quickly. It's good. It feels good in your hand. And then present me with like your top 5.
Yeah.
And she got me, and she's like, I hear what you're saying. So she took on the challenge. She came to me with her top 2, not 5. She was like, the others were shit. And she gave me her top 2. And she like demonstrates. She whips out a notebook with like all these examples of her trying these pens. She's like, this is where I'm at. And then, anyway, what I'm trying to get at is she presented a color for the pen that I did not like. It was lime green. And I was like, I just really feel like, I don't really like lime green. It's like making me like itchy. I don't know. Like, it's on her brand. I'm like, lime green. I don't know. She's like, well, it's on the brand template. I'm like, she's right. And I had that moment of, I'm going to trust your judgment. Okay, let's do it. Okay, this is like a little example, but this is how neurotic I am about things and the details. And I recognize it in myself because I'm like, I don't know if I want a lime green pen, but okay. So we do it, and people comment on these pens all the time. And
That's
they find
amazing.
it in their purse. They find it wherever it is. They keep these pens. A few of our clients are like, where do you get these pens? We need these pens. These need our like engineering qualifications for specs, because in some industries you have to use a certain type of pen. Anyways, that is the first example that I can recall where I was like, I'm going to not like hold this. Like, I need to let this go.
Yeah,
It seems like a
totally.
little thing, but to me the pens were a big deal, obviously. Talking about it. And it worked, and I trusted her judgment, and she did the due diligence. I don't think people throw away our pens. Should you find a Dale Carnegie pen, please keep it. There's been a lot of effort that's gone into this pen. And you just have to trust people.
Yeah.
They know what their ideas, and there have been a million other things since then, but that was my epiphany. I'm like, you may not be right, Bethany. Like, be quiet. Just let her do her thing. Okay. Lime green it is. You choose between the top 2,
Yeah.
That is an incredible example.
That is.
It's like so neurotic and a weird example, but it's so true for me because I am weird about that kind of thing.
It makes so much sense. When you said lime green, I was like, this is not
Right.
going to be
We
good.
ain't doing
I looked at it
that.
and I immediately had a reaction.
Yeah, but then when you say you can find it in your purse, I'm like, that's something I didn't think of.
Totally.
That she clearly
It
did.
doesn't like go with my outfit like ever. But I'm going to be open-minded, and I have a few of my purse so I can find it, which is so true.
Yeah.
There's so much going on in that mom bag. Yeah.
You gotta know where the lime green pen is, and there it
That's
is.
your trusted pen. It's always going to work.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That is
I
an
love
example of
that.
so many things. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Gosh, you are just like filled with so many good things. And I feel like our listeners are going to get so much, but I know there's a lot more. But if you could, let's say you're going into a training and you are tasked with a 1 sentence, maybe 3.
Okay.
We'll give you 3 as a buffer
Yeah.
if you need.
Yep.
What is the main thing from Dale Carnegie and from yourself that you would tell a business, a team, a group of leaders? What is that one thing that you feel like is the most impactful lesson from your guys' business?
I really wish I looked at these questions. You're like letting me flex my muscles, like thinking on the spot. Okay. The one thing that comes to mind is never underestimate that every interaction has the influence truly to change someone's life. So let's say, for example, if we take the pen thing, which is like a little example, And I just totally diminished that. I'm like, oh, lime green. Like, no. It needs to be black, which is what I would likely prefer. I could have inhibited her confidence, her level of innovation, creativity. To give you a better example, there have been times in my life when people have given me advice to err on the side of cautious.
Sure.
I dropped out of high school to help support my family after my father died when I was a teenager. And there were many people in my life that said, like, you can't do this or you can't do that. And they meant their best, right? They had good intentions for me. Had I listened to them, though, I truly would not be where I am today. Mm-hmm. And what we say, what we do, how we act, every way we interact with the world can either elevate someone's confidence and empowerment or not. Mm-hmm. And to just be aware of our energy and our intentions, to think to ourselves, do we have positive intent here? Mm-hmm. If we have positive intent, green light, right? Mm-hmm. Go for it. If there's any other intent, pause and know the impact you can have on that person's life. You could derail an entire future. They could take those words to heart. Mm-hmm. And that is profoundly true for me. And I hold myself to that level of responsibility, which is hard to do because I always have to pause and like check myself with the pens, right? Like, why am I thinking this? It's because I don't like the color lime green. It's not fair to her, right? Like, let's just do it. And when she asked me to order another like 500 pens today, I was like, sure. Like smiley face, like, yes, do this. It's great. And again, that's a super small example, but it cuts deeper than that in so many ways in my life, because you can either be someone that advocates for other people, that doesn't let yourself get in the way of not only your own success, but theirs. Mm-hmm. Or you can not reflect and you can just act and end up changing the course of someone's life unintentionally. Wow. And that is a profound responsibility that we all have, regardless of who we are, our position in life, because words matter and what we do matters even more. Mm-hmm.
That was such a good answer.
That was incredible.
She did tell us before she came on, she did not read the question.
I
so
did.
That is true from the heart.
Mic drop. That was so good. We are going to quote that and put it on our page.
It's a very long quote. That was not very
well, yeah, but we'll like break it up. But it was so good.
There was a lot of gold in there.
Talking about pens
gold.
again.
Stay lady. No, I'm just kidding.
These lime green pens are really
we don't
important.
even sell pens. It's like not a thing to do. I don't even know. It's like I'm not trying to promote pens, but yes.
Oh, so okay. This has been so much fun, and we need to have you back because we haven't even scratched the surface, I feel like. But where can people find you? How can they connect with you, learn more?
So I'm not going to say our website is great. It's not. However, if you look up Dale Carnegie of North Dakota and Minnesota, you'll find a very robust social media, which is led by one of our team members, and she does a phenomenal job. And you'll find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all the things. She knows all the things. I don't know that I'm on all of them. All the things. Because I feel, I don't know, buying a business and having children ages you a lot. And so that's the best way to find us. Or just honestly call us, email us. You can find that information on our website. We're super accessible, human, and we want to talk to people.
We love it.
We will link everything.
All of that. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
We need you back. We're not just saying that. Like there are so many questions we didn't even get to that we have to because.
Or we can just go get wine together. That would be.
That is absolutely going to happen. Cheers and thank you so much.
Thank you.